Good morning. Welcome to Sunday at the Oxford's Virtual Festival of Scouting. And this morning we're going to show you how to cook a pizza in a cardboard box. So first off, we're going to get Annabelle to show you how we make a pizza. Now, full disclosure here, we're following a Jamie Oliver recipe because we enjoy that one ourselves. So over to you, Annabelle.
Okay.
First off, we wash our hands.
Right, so the first thing we'll need to do is fill this up with 325 ml of lukewarm water. A sachet of dried yeast. You'll need 1 level tablespoon of some brown sugar. Then stir vigorously. Then leave to one side for a few minutes. Next comes the messy bit. Pour 500 grams of strong white bread flour onto a clean surface. Then make a dish with the back of a spoon in your pile of flour. Carefully pour the mixture into the flour dish you've made. Then carefully stir the flour into the mixture. Once you have your dough, knead it for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes of kneading your dough, cut into 3 pieces. Then flour your hands and roll each one into a ball. After that, wrap them in cling film.
So our recipe makes 3 decent pizzas. So 2 of which at this point you can put straight into the freezer and use another time. 1 you leave to one side for 15 minutes and the yeast in it will make it rise, and we'll come back to that after that 15-minute period. So it's a perfect time now for Annabelle to clean up.
What?
And I'll relax with a coffee. Thank you. Okay, so while Annabelle is tidying up in the kitchen, let's talk about how we make our oven. Okay, so you're going to want a fair size box. This one is measures 36 centimeters by 42, and because you're going to be putting several things inside to make the oven, you need a fair bit of space to do that. So then you need to put foil on the inside of the box. That's going to create the oven, and it's also going to contain the heat inside the box, so it will cook your pizza. And the way we did that was to get a sheet of foil and open up the back of the box. In fact, decide which is going to be the front, which is going to be the back, and I've written that on here just to remind me. Pull out a long section of foil, long enough so it goes inside the box and then folds over the flap at either end, and then stick that down. Now I stuck it down with sellotape, and I tried to make sure the sellotape was only on the outside of the box. It wasn't going to be inside the box. The reason for that is I don't want the sellotape to burn. So we coat the inside of the box like that. Now, because I haven't used any tape on the inside, it does mean that it's now a little bit, there's still some gaps there where heat might get through and actually burn the box, which we don't want to happen. So I've got myself some foil tape, and this stuff is actually sticky, and you can buy this in a DIY shop. Very famous one with orange writing and a letter beginning with B, you know the one I mean. And this is ideal stuff for smartening up the inside and covering up all the little crevices and corners to make sure you've got a much smoother inside of your box. So this tape has got a paper backing to it, which is a bit fiddly to peel off. But with a bit of care you can get the paper off. And also important when you get to the end of your piece of foil tape is you hold on to the end, otherwise it scrolls up on itself and sticks and you can't untangle it. So then you can use this once you've taken the backing off to seal up all the corners of your oven. This will go in here. Okay, so we've used the foil tape to cover all the little corners and areas where the cardboard was visible. So we sealed that beautifully. It is fiddly stuff. It sticks very quickly to the foil, so you've got to be very careful, and perhaps, again, use perhaps two people to help you, because it's very hard to cut, peel and then place without it getting into a bit of a mess. So, but we've managed it. So all the inside is covered in foil, and that's where all the heat's going to be. So now we need a shelf. Before I do that, sometimes cardboard boxes come with an extra piece of cardboard at the bottom, especially if they were used to hold heavy things. So I thought I might as well use that as well. So I'm going to put that at the back. That gives us an extra layer of insulation at the back. Then we need to create a shelf. Now you can use cans. These are empty coffee cans. They've got a bit of weight to them, which makes it a bit more stable. They won't fall over. You can use drinks cans, but I would suggest perhaps putting a bit of earth inside them, just to stop them falling over, because they're quite light aluminium and they will fall over if you knock the oven. So we place these in our oven, and they're going to support a shelf. Now the ideal thing is some sort of cooling rack that you use in baking. This one's actually got some feet attached, but we're going to use it hopefully flat like this, and we just slide that on top. And there we have it. We have our level shelf. Now next thing is to put heat into the oven, and the way we're going to do that is that we're actually going to put in a barbecue at the bottom. Now The standard barbecues you can buy in the shops that are sort of square and have got made of foil and got a little foil grill on them won't quite fit into that because I haven't got quite enough space. So I'm going to make a mini one, and then we'll slide that in there, and that will create the heat. And our pizza will go on top of this shelf, and then we'll close up the doors like so. We'll place something up against it, and hopefully our pizza will cook. Now normally you put a pizza in an oven for about 10 minutes on a very high heat and it cooks very quickly. Being that this is camp conditions, I suspect they'll take a little bit longer, so it may take sort of 15-20 minutes for the pizza to be cooked, but we will check it once we're outside. That's another point I should make. Don't do this inside. You don't want to fill your kitchen or your house full of smoke. Do it outside. And that's particularly challenging at the moment as we have suddenly a lot of rainy weather. So we'll come back to that later.
Now that the barbecue is lit, we're now going to roll out our dough. Make sure you've got plenty of flour on both the dough and the rolling pin. And now for the toppings.
Okay, so we're ready to put our barbecue inside the oven. It's now burnt down sufficiently. There's no flame shooting out of it, but it's nice and hot. Now, as I said, it is hot, so I'm using fire proof gloves. These are a great buy for any leaders that are watching this. You can get them off the internet. You can hold on to things that are quite hot briefly. I mean, you can't hold on to coals forever. It will eventually burn your hand, so be quick with your hands, but it will protect you. So that's what we're going to do now. So lift the foil dish up and we'll pop it into our oven. Push it at the back. Okay, and now we're going to put our pizza, which we've already put on our grill to make things easier for ourselves, and we're going to put that on top of the supports inside. Like so. Hope you can see that. And we're now going to close up our doors. And we're going to leave that in there for, I reckon, about 15 minutes. But then we'll check to see if our pizza is cooked. Okay. Still a bit soft, I think. It's getting there. Yeah. I think it needs a little bit longer. Okay, so give it another 10 minutes. That's 25 minutes in total. Fingers crossed, we'll check again. Oh, now that is looking much better, so let's just check. Yeah, I think that could be okay actually. Just to check. There's definitely firmness of that. For a closer examination. Okay, so everything's melted on top. Whoops. Let's just check the base. Yeah. Okay, so back indoors, we've cut up the pizza, and I guess the true test is the taste test. So, Annabelle, without further ado, let's tuck in. Oh yeah. So as you can see, we've tucked into this pizza, and it was very nice, and it was hot as well. On reflection, I think perhaps we should have rolled it out just a little bit thinner, as even after 35 minutes, who is still a little bit soft on the surface.